Hi, welcome back to another one. You know what it is. You know what it is. You already saw the title. Let's get started.
Actually,
Alrighty, so this week I've been thinking about what I want to talk about all week, and it's really exciting and super fun. And so what I want to talk about this week.
The following Thursday, 5 minutes later, 24 hours later, much later.
actually,
Nah, I'm just kidding. My fiance and I thought it would be really funny if I did that. So, not the laugh, the pretending that the episode was over thing. And if you're listening on just listening, I'm sure that was slightly confusing. But podcast isn't over. We came up with that idea because I have not been thinking about what to talk about all week. And my fiance says that I say that too much, but I haven't. And I'm being honest with you guys. So, too bad, so sad, Alex. What I am going to talk about, though, since it is getting to be my favorite season, which is winter, and it is my second favorite season, which is fall or autumn, I wanted to talk about my skiing stories because I've gone skiing a couple of times. And it went really well the first time, and ever since then, it has not gone that great. So, yeah. Let's go. I went skiing for the very first time with a group. So my little sister, we're homeschooled, right? So my mom had found this cottage school that she used to send my little sister to. And it was at these people's house, and they were super cool, and they had dogs, and we would, on Elvis's birthday, for instance, we made Elvis's famous peanut butter bacon banana sandwich. Everybody got to make their own, and they would do like reading lessons, and then we would do cooking lessons sometimes, and we would do art, and then they would do like science lessons. Like, it was super cool, and it was however many days a week that you could make it there, I'm pretty sure. So I don't really remember how many days a week she used to go to that. Maybe just a few. Then we found out that they were massive, mega, total Scientology people. And at first it didn't seem that weird, right? And we kept going. And then they started talking about the one where you go on the boat, whatever that is, the Scientology thing where they send you on a Scientology boat thingy where you clean a boat or something and you're separated from your kids. I don't know. We stopped going after that, after we figured out that they were trying to like Scientology join us. So before all of that, though, they were just like super chill, super cool. They weren't pushing the Scientology thing. There was no programming weirdness. Sometimes they would like let us watch, like on Elvis's birthday. That's the only event thing that I can remember happening there. We watched a couple of Elvis movies. Like, we never watched like Scientology stuff or anything. And I went there. I say we because I would go there every now and then because there were a couple of kids my age. I think I went there when I was like 14, maybe 13, 14. I don't know, somewhere around there. And so I would go sometimes, and then they would have little kids. And so it was just kind of like a big group of people. And then you'd go with your group, you go with your group, and we'll be here so that we have like the different age groups of learning. And I remember there was a trip to Mammoth, like a week-long trip up to Mammoth. And my little sister wanted to go, and I wanted to go. And so my mom was like, okay, I'll send you guys together. Yeah. Did my little sister go? Yeah, she did. I'm pretty sure she did. She did. She must have. I'm pretty sure she did. So we're in Mammoth, and everyone had bought ski lift tickets and ski rentals and whatever. And then one of the people didn't want to go. And so she offered me her lift ticket. And she was just like, you just got to rent the skis, but you can have my lift ticket. And there was some deal going on where the rental was only like $70 for the skis and the boots and the poles and everything. So I called my parents and I was like, sorry for saying that I didn't want to ski, because they had asked me ahead of time if I wanted a lift ticket and rental and whatever, and I didn't. And then we got there and all my friends were going, and I was like, I want to do it too. So ended up renting skis last minute, and I got a lift ticket for free, which was super cool because the lift ticket was the most expensive part. So we get all of our gear, and I didn't bring snow pants, and it was like totally midwinter, snowing like, crazy. So I wore jeans over leggings and a t-shirt with a long sleeve shirt over that, and then I had a weatherproof jacket, so like one of those ones that like makes the sound when you walk, like if you swing your arms, it makes that swish 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 sound, swish 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 bish. And I ended up taking off the jacket and just wearing a scarf and the long sleeve shirt and the jeans over my leggings because it was sunny and it got hot. Also, sorry if I keep messing with my hair. Again, I feel like I do it every episode, but my hair's been in braids, so it's super huge, but also I have this weird flatness going on top. So I feel like I look like homeschooler extra when my hair's all flat on top and like puffy on the bottom. But at least it's not a middle part. So I'm trying to avoid that by like, flipping my hair around and giving it volume. Ooh, there we go. That looks good. Lioness. So we get all of our gear on, put on the ski boots, grab the skis, grab the poles, do the thing. And me and my friends and everybody else that was skiing go to the ski lifts and get on the thing and then go up the mountain. And since it was a big group of people, there were some littler kids that were going. And there was this one little girl that was just so annoying. Like, she was so annoying. And I know she was a little girl, but I was also a young kid at the same time, so it's like I don't feel bad complaining about how annoying she was. She was just such a complainer, and she cried at everything, and it was because she was very coddled. So anything she cried about, she would get her way, and this happened, they'd be like, let us immediately fix it. It was just kind of like that, like intense coddle vibe, So she was very annoying. And we go up the lift, and I was sitting on a bench with her and someone else. And then we get off the thing, and I'm all ready to go. We didn't take a lesson. We didn't, do any practice runs. They told me how to stop and, do the pizza slice to stop. And otherwise French fries, which is how you have your legs straight. You have your skis straight, pointing straight. That's French fries. And then to stop, you do a pizza, which you curve your toes in so that you make like a V shape with your skis. And that's how you stop and slow down. Or that's one of the ways. Otherwise, you can, go to the side and whoosh, do a wall of snow like you see in the Olympics. And we're at the top of the hill, and we go to get off the ski lift, and I start to go, and the little girl goes, "No, wait for me." And I was like, okay, so what? It's on me. It's my responsibility now to watch this child. Okay. So I, slowed down and was waiting for her. Then she didn't want to do it. We were only on the bunny slope, which was called like Sesame Street or something like that. And so it was super simple, a couple curves and then straight shot down the mountain, like 2 turns, one left, one right, and then straight shot. Like, it's super easy. It wasn't really that steep. It was a really fun run. I really liked the simple, like, kind of cross country ski vibe instead of just straight down the Black Diamond. So she's all crying, and like I'm trying to figure out how to help her, but she doesn't want to just try going down the mountain. So she ends up taking off her skis and hiking down the side of the frickin' mountain, which took so long. It took I swear it took like 30 minutes to get down the mountain because she took off her skis and refused to ski down the mountain. So I'm there stuck with her. I guess I could have just left her, but she was like 7, so I felt bad. So, I was there stuck with her and just watching her go down the thing. And I was like, you can do it. If you want to put your skis back on, you'll get to the bottom a lot faster, and then you won't have to do it again. And maybe it'll even be fun. And she was like, no, I'm not doing that. Just like total turd kid vibe. Makes me sound like a jerk, but if she wasn't so, it's not like I found kids annoying. Like, I loved babysitting. I loved watching kids, playing with, like, had no issue unless you were a turd kid. And this was totally a TK, which is turd kid. Okay? So don't blame me for this. All right? Finally, we get down to the bottom of the hill, and I told her mom or her aunt or whoever it was that was watching her or who brought her, I was like, she doesn't want to go down the slopes. And her aunt or mom or whoever it was like, oh, yes, she does. And I was like, okay, well, if she does, she's going to go with somebody else because I didn't get to go down. So I'm going to go. And yeah, I think they ended up just staying in the lodge the whole rest of the day. So I go back up the lift. I think I was by myself that time. Go back up the lift, get off, and I go down. And the first run was beautiful. Fantastic. I stopped. It was beautiful. Second run, beautiful, perfect, swish, swish, straight shot. Beautiful. Awesome. Third time, and I remember specifically it was the third time because I was like, oh my gosh, third time really is the charm. So I'm going down, and it, go down the first curve, go down the second curve, and then it's the straight shot. And I'm coming down the straight shot, and I was going way too fast because my skis were like straight. I wasn't angled at all to kind of like slow my pace. So I'm going down straight and fast, and I couldn't figure out how to stop. I tried doing the pizza thing, but when you're going fast, you have to do that like super hard, and it's a really, really big inner thigh workout, So, and I wasn't used to that. So I'm like trying to figure out how to freaking stop, and I'm heading towards, they have these big, huge signs that are like my arm width apart, like that, they're big, and they have this big, huge banner that says slow in bold black letters. And it's like this plastic banner thing that they have when you're supposed to like slow down, like the last, like slow down now, and I'm heading straight towards one of those slow signs. And I'm like, what the freaking heck am I going to do? So I'm heading towards the sign, and there's like a gap, like maybe like a 3-foot gap. Yeah, maybe like a 3-foot gap between the bottom of the sign and the snow. And at the last minute, I'm coming up to the sign super fast, and at the last minute, I limbo under the sign. And I know that sounds fake, and I know it sounds like I'm a liar, and I wouldn't be surprised if people were like, oh yeah, bullshit, you limboed under the sign. Yeah, sure. I did, I swear. It was hilarious. I like fully just backbend, limboed under the sign, and then stood up, and then I think the only way I could stop was to like fall into a snowbank that they had. Like they have the snow all, in like little hills. And so I just kind of like fell, after. And there were some people down at the bottom of the hill that were just watching me, and they're like, that was cool. And I was like, yeah, right? And I didn't get hurt or anything. It was wild. So then I got back up, put my skis back on because they had kind of popped off. And I go back up the ski slope, ski lift, and do a couple more runs. And I'm, doing my thing, hanging out, figuring out how to curve more and fan the snow out behind me, and figuring out how to stop differently other than just the pizza thing, because that wasn't really working for me that well. So I figured out how to skid to the side to stop, which was super cool. And then I had my ski poles, and so I was using those to trail snow behind me. And if you're going down the hill and you hold your ski pole just in the snow lightly behind you, it kind of floofs it up if the snow is fluffy enough. And it had snowed the day before we went there, so it was fresh powder. It was the perfect snow to ski on. So then one of my friends that I was there with, that was a part of the Scientology group, and then she ended up being a super mega Scientologist, and then ended up going on some Scientology thing, and then I never heard from her again, and I hope she's fine, and she probably is. But anyways, she was like, come on, do the next size up slope, whatever that is, the next level up. And I was like, I don't really want to, I'm having fun at this one. And she was like, but it's the baby slope. And I was like, yeah, but who cares, it's fun. And so she was like, come on. So I was like, all right. So then we went to the next level up slope. And I didn't know that it had little jumps. But all peppered out throughout the ski run, there were little jumps that they had created out of snow. They put like a pile of snow to make a little, like a thing you go up and boop, do a little jump. And they weren't huge, and it wasn't an issue or anything, except for the fact, well, it was an issue because I didn't know. And also, I didn't have goggles, so I was wearing sunglasses, which don't reflect the snow the same way that like snow reflecting goggles or glasses do. So I'm going down the thing, had no idea that there were little jumps. For some reason, I wasn't paying attention enough to the people ahead of us to like notice that there were jumps. And so I'm going, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit. I go up the slope, and then I fell. And I'm like, what the fudge? And she's like, yeah, this one has jumps on it, because she had kind of like stopped to see if I was okay. And I was like, I don't want to freaking go down the rest of this, but I had to. So get up, pop my skis back on, go down the rest of the hill super slowly, trying not to go over any more of the jumps, because I could have and like practiced and potentially gotten better, but I didn't want to, because I just wanted to slopey ski and down the snow and blah, blah, blah. I didn't want to have to practice going on jumps I didn't want to at all. So that was the only time I went on that one. And I just kept on going down the bunny slope. And I don't care what anybody says, but bunny slopes can be just as fun as anything else, Like the whole cross-country ski vibe was more my vibe, So then we're all done skiing. And on the last run, one of the chaperones, it was a engaged couple, and so he was like in his 20s. And on the drive from here to Mammoth, we had an Astro van to fit all of us, because there was like 12 of us driving in one car and like another 8 in another car. And so they had rented an Astro van, and because he was driving and because he was in his early 20s and he thought it was funny, the drive that we took to Mammoth, it had a lot of like rolling hill kind of vibes. So he would speed down the hill and then he would coast down the hill, speed up the next side as fast as possible, and then we would kind of like jump when we got to the top. And it pissed off his fiance, and he just kept on doing it. And all the kids, we were all having fun, and it was just annoying her every time. She would be like, stop it. It was so frame of reference for him. So he and another one of the boys, he was like, come on, let's go to the double black diamond, the tippy top, like most intense, whatever. And they were both snowboarding, and he was a seasoned snowboarder, so he kind of knew what he was doing. And it was the boy that he was taking's first time snowboarding ever. And he was doing okay, but snowboarding is kind of hard unless you're really, comfortable skateboarding, I guess. I guess that's like, more similar, which makes sense. So he goes, come on, let's go. Last one, right? So they go, and they're gone for like an hour and a half, right? Like the first 30 minutes goes by, and his fiance was kind of like, I don't think it should be taking them this long. And the lady was like, yeah, well, it takes a while to get to the top, and, it takes a while to come down. So yeah, that's normal. And then another 30 minutes goes by. And then another 30 minutes goes by. And she's like, I feel like they should be down here by now. And I swear it was like 2 hours later from when they said they were going up until they got back down. And what had happened was they got to the top, the tippity top, the most toppy tip of the tippity top of the mountain. And at the tippity top, it was ice and slush. So like hard ice and like slushy, watery ice, right? So they were telling us how they had to slide, climb down for like I don't even know, mile maybe for like a while, they had to just kind of inch their way down the mountain because they couldn't just like hike down the side. Otherwise, they would have fallen because it was slush and ice. So they had to like scoot on their butts, scoot down the mountainside until it got to a point where it was fluffy enough for them to get back on their snowboards and snowboard the rest of the way down, which then took like another however long. So they almost got stuck at the top. But yeah, that was my first ever experience with skiing. The next one, my mom got me a ski lift ticket to Mountain High, which is like Big Bear, Mount Baldy area, for my birthday. And my birthday's in January. So the only problem with that was the snow by the time we went up there wasn't really like falling from, I need to stop saying like, it wasn't really falling from the sky. It was falling from the machines, you know, that like make snow. So the snow wasn't that great. And I'm not that great of a skier, so wasn't that great, right? Like the first time I went skiing, I only had an incident where I fell twice, you know? And the first time, the limbo wasn't really, I don't even classify that as a fall because it was so badass. But the second one totally was a fall. But other than that, I didn't fall. And we had skied that day for like 8 hours. So this time, I was 1, by myself, and 2, the snow wasn't as fluffy, and 3, the runs weren't as big. So there was a lot, and there was a lot more people. And my issue with skiing is if I'm alone on the slope, like if there's nobody else that I could run into possibly, I'm cool. But if there are people that I could potentially bowl over, I'm not into it. Freaks me out. And also I'm like, what if I bump into these people and hurt them or something? You know, that sucks. Not worried about people bumping into me as much as that could happen. I'm worried about bumping into people. So my mom got me a lift ticket and I was excited. You know, I thought it would be cool. But when we got up there and I noticed the snow machines and then I noticed that the ice and snow was more like icy and not as fluffy snowy, I was a little skeptical about how it would go. So I got my skis. My mom said she was going to go back down the mountain a little bit and to call her when I was done, which was really cool of her, you know, to take me up skiing and just give me a day to chill out and ski by myself. So I get my skis on, go up the ski run, and I come down. The first run was kind of rocky. You know, there was tons of people there. I was a little uncomfortable, and I was like, okay, let me just practice a couple of times. So I go back up there was like a practice slope, and then there was the real bunny slope, and then there was the bigger ones. And so I go back up the practice slope, which was probably a dumb idea because there were tons of people there. I should have just gone to the bunny slope and maybe would have had better luck, but I didn't. So I'm going up the practice slope, and I go down. It's not that great. I feel really like scared and like wobbly, and like I'm bumping into people and kill people and hurt people. So then I do it again, and on that time, there was a lot of slush at the bottom of the hill. At the bottom of the practice slope, they needed to like pump way more snow because there was like no snow. It was all mud and dirt and ice and slushy and wet and muddy. And I miscalculated how quickly I should stop and ended up face planting full body ski and my whole the front of me into the mud and dirt at the bottom of the practice slope. Like full on, just boom. It didn't really hurt myself too bad other than embarrassed, and a little bit of the wind was knocked out of me. But other than that, like I wasn't hurt. The skis came off, which probably would have hurt more. I probably would have been more in a situation if the skis had stayed on, but they popped off. So this dad and his boy were at the bottom of the hill, and they go, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I got up and I brushed myself off and tried to get off all the muddy dirt off of me as much as possible. It was all over my sweater and my jeans and my hands, and I was all pissed. And I was just standing there and I was like thinking, you know, this sucks. I'm going to call my mom right now because I don't want to be here anymore. You know? And then I stood there and I was thinking, I was like, you know what? Fuck you, mud. And I said that out loud to the mud. I said, fuck you, mud. And I put my skis back on and I went back up the practice slope. And then I left after that because I was sick of it. So I didn't let the mud win. That's my point. I didn't let the mud win. Mud 0, Milena 1. Because come again, fuck you, mud. You know? And that's exactly how I said it too. When I told my dad that when I got home, he cracked up. So that's still one of my favorite things. I should get a t-shirt. Ooh, Christmas idea. T-shirt that says fuck you, mud. Also, sorry for all the F-bombs. I don't think it's that funny when women curse. I don't know if that's sexist of me. I don't think so, because I'm not like being sexist, but I just don't think it's that funny when women curse. I think in certain situations and certain times it can be funny, but I was listening to this other podcast, Tom Segura, and his wife curses all the time. Like, it's just like, she just, you know, and I curse in my normal life, but when I hear it, like when I hear her, she just is going off, and it's just like casually cursing, and it's just not that funny. I don't think it's that funny, you know? The first time I recorded myself, I cursed a bunch because I thought it was going to be funny. And then as I was watching it back and editing and stuff, I was like, you know, that's not that funny to me. It's not that funny. So I didn't post that one because the F-bombs and stuff, it just didn't hit the way I thought they would in my head, you know? Well, that's just my opinion on that. And then my last skiing adventure was for, again, my birthday, but my 20th birthday. My mom and Maya's birthday are back to back. So my birthday and then her birthday. And we all went to Big Bear to this beautiful bed and breakfast, the only bed and breakfast that was actually serving breakfast during the pandemic stuff. And it is like gorgeous. My parents found it, went there for their wedding anniversary, and then my mom was like, hey, what if we did a family trip for our birthdays? And we went up to Big Bear and stayed at that bed and breakfast and, you know, did like joint birthday, family, whatever. And I was like, that'd be cool. Let's go. So my parents drove up separate, and then Renata, my older sister, me, and Tallulah, our younger sister, we all drove together, and I think we were in my car. And then we all drove home together, same thing, my mom and dad, and then the three of us, which was super fun. And it was a super fun time, and my mom got my little sister and I nighttime lift tickets to go skiing at night, which was super, super cool. Nighttime skiing is awesome. I may not be like the most avid skier. I feel like if I skied more, I'd probably like it a lot more, but since I don't, you know. Nighttime skiing, highly recommend. It is so cool. And there's just something, like, I love wintertime, and there's just something about skiing and having that cold, fresh, crisp air blowing in your face at nighttime when you're doing an activity, so your body is working and moving, so you're warm, but like you're cold because the cold, crisp, fresh snow air is in your face, and it's just like the best combination. Like, it's making my mouth water thinking about it because it's just so fresh, you know? Like tonight, the weather is so fresh, and it's just like, it just feels so good. Like, your nose gets all cold and your ears get cold, but your body's warm. It's like my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing, and then I don't feel so bad. Little musical interruption. Nighttime skiing, highly recommend. Fresh, crisp air in your face when you're going down the ski slope at nighttime. Coolest thing ever. Do it. If you like it, do it. If you like it, do it. So my little sister and I go. Found parking. Totally lucked out because the parking there can get gnarly. It was at Snow Summit in Big Bear. And we get there, check in, get our ski lifts, tickets and skis and all that stuff. My little sister loves skiing. Like, she loves skiing, and she's really good at it. So we go up the bunny slope, and we go down a couple of times, and it was totally fun. And then she wanted to go on the bigger slope, which was just a little bit more of an incline. So we go up that one. I didn't like it as much because I'm not that good at stopping, you know. I got to get more confident at it. I feel like if I had skied a couple of days, would have gotten more comfortable and felt better about it. But, you know, didn't. So we go up it again, and I tried it again, and I was like, I like the bunny slope. And so she's like, okay, well, I'm going to do this one. I was like, all right. And so then I went and did the bunny slope, I think, like one more time. And then I told her, I was like, hey, I'm ready to go whenever you are. And she was like, really? We've only been here for a couple hours. Because the nighttime ski session, I think, starts at 4 and ends at 8 or 9 or something like that. And we had gotten there at like 5. So by the time it was dark, it was already like 6:30 or 7. And so I was kind of like done. I feel like if we had gotten there when it was about to get dark at like 6 or 6:30, well, I guess it would be dark by then already. But if we had gotten there later on, probably would have wanted to stay later, you know? But I was just like, I don't know. I'm kind of just like not, I'm ready to go whenever you are, but no rush. I'm going to go return my skis and get all my stuff. You ski as many more runs as you want to. I'm cool hanging out because it's snowing and it's cold and it's awesome and it's nighttime and it's beautiful. So do your thing. And she was like, okay, I'll go a couple more times. So she went a couple more times and then returned her skis and that was that. And then I met Alex and he loves snowboarding. And so we went for his birthday. I got him a lift ticket. Did I get him a lift ticket? I don't know. I don't remember. I was pregnant at the time, and so pregnancy brain, I don't remember what I did. But I do know that if you go to ski on your actual birthday, as long as you have your ID that shows that it's actually your birthday, they will give you a free lift ticket, which is cool because Alex has his own snowboard and boots and helmet and goggles and gear and all this stuff. So it was pretty much free. It was free, aside from gas to get there, for him to go skiing for his birthday or snowboarding. And because I was pregnant, I didn't want to risk anything, so I didn't ski. And I just hung out in the car. I brought a bunch of blankets and pillows and stuff and made myself like a little cocoon nest in the back of his car because he's got a nice big old car. And so I made myself a little cocoon, and I had my food, and I had my podcast or book on tape or whatever it was. And I fell asleep for a couple hours, and then obviously freezing cold, it's the snow, and it was like 20 something degrees. Maybe it was like 19 or 20 degrees actually. Fahrenheit, not Celsius, because, Fahrenheit doesn't make any sense, but I don't know Celsius, so going with Fahrenheit. So then I had to turn the heater on because my toes were frozen. Like, my feet were so cold I couldn't even put my shoes back on because I probably could have, but I didn't want to because my feet were so freaking cold. So I turned the heater on, warmed up my toesies, and then, went out and walked. And they have a big old fire pit, huge bonfire. And so I hung out around the bonfire for a while I waited for Alex, and then I saw him and I was like, hey, so, freezing. And he was like, okay, cool, I'm hungry. And so he did one more run, and then we went and got some food, and then we went back to the car to eat and warm up. And it was perfect because when we got back to the car, we were eating and hanging out, and then he was like, all right, I think I want to do a couple more runs and then we can go. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever, do whatever you want. It's your birthday. It started snowing. Right as we got out of the car, it started snowing. And the clouds started coming in, and it started getting colder. And he was like, you know what? Actually, we should probably go before this storm gets worse. And I was like, are you sure? And thank goodness we did. I'll put up videos of the snowstorm, but it fully turned into like a snowstorm. And it was so good that we left when we did, because it still took, like, it only takes maybe hour and a half, 2 hours to get to Big Bear. It took us like 2 hours to get down the mountain alone because of the snow. But it was cool because we were in his 4Runner, which is, 4-wheel drive. And we were coming down the mountain, and it was a bunch of traffic coming down the mountain. But we were seeing cars trying to go up the mountain. And a lot of them made it. But then there was this Mercedes that was trying to go up the mountain. And they didn't have chains, and also it's a Mercedes, and it was like the ground was snowy and it was actively snowing. So they're trying to go up, and we're watching them, and their car starts sliding back. The wheels are turning, but they are not going up. They are sliding back down the mountain. So they're sliding, and then their car turns, like the butt end of it turns towards the, like, off the mountain. Luckily there was one of those railings, so they like ended up rear-ending the rail, and then they got out of it, and I think they tried making it back up the mountain, but we were moving by then, so I don't know if they ended up getting in line to turn around or what. But yeah, it was freaky because some of the cars were slipping, and some of them, the tires weren't doing anything for them, and they didn't put chains on. So yeah, it was lucky that there was no accidents or crashes while we were coming down the mountain. Like, there was no problem. There was a, what was it, a Range Rover in front of us, and then, big trucks and cars and stuff. So luckily there was no incidences or accidents with us coming down the mountain. And we made it home safely and soundly. And that is that for that. So yeah, I'm very excited for this season. Autumn and winter are my favorite. They're my favorite. That fresh, like I said, that tangent I went on, the fresh, crisp coldness. It's like when you have a nice glass of ice cold water and it's just so like, that's what winter does for me. Winter just makes me like want to go out. I want to just go out and walk around and be cold and wear sweaters and jackets and have my nose and ears get cold and, drink something hot. And I don't know. It's just, there's just something about it that is just so nice, especially in California. Even though this year I feel like it didn't get as hot as it has in years past. I feel like it was hot, but not as hot as it has gotten. So I'm cool with how it's been, So, yep, that's it. And I hope you enjoyed my little hijinks at the beginning of this episode. I thought it was quite funny, and hopefully you do too. So I hope you all have a fabulous weekend, because the weekend's coming up. And I hope you all had a fabulous week. And I will see you all next week for another episode of Mother Flippin' Actually Homeschooled. I almost forgot the name, but that's okay, because it's actually homeschooled. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye. I do that every episode, don't I? Bye.